Welcome, everybody. This is another edition of Take Flight Talk. All right, there's another person out here in the cockpit, if you will, as we're taking flight. All right, we got Gino. Show him some respect from the Everything NYJ podcast. Gino, how you feeling?
Man, I'm feeling good. It's been a crazy day so far, but it's gonna get better tonight. It's gonna get better this weekend. I really am hungry for another win. What about you guys?
I'm feeling good.
I'm
I don't
feeling
normally
really
say
good.
this. I don't normally say
He's like-
this. Going into a game where you have one of the best quarterbacks, I think, in the league that we're going up against, that we beat last year, also with a backup quarterback. I've got a whole breakdown, kind of taking a look at what worked last season when we beat them last year. I'll get into that in a minute. But I'm excited. I think we got a great shot this week. What do you think, Woody?
I'm hungry. I'm hungry. I can definitely eat a win right now. I'm scared though. I'm scared, and we obviously will talk about it. I feel like no team is hungrier for a win this week than Cincinnati, and they have multiple reasons why. But before we get into that, I just want for our passengers right in the back for the Take Flight Talk, I want them to hear a little bit about your podcast. Gino, what do you got going on? What can they expect if they tune in to Everything NYJ podcast?
Well, first off, I'm very Italian. Gino Antonio Pagano. That's about Italian as you can get sometimes. I'm called the Italy Jet. I have my co-host Liam Johnson of Everything NYJ. We've been doing this for about six to 8 months now, and it's been going really well. You can follow us Everything NYJ on Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter, and you can also find me on Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter as well. But yeah, we're always cooking up things new. We always have some guests come on as well. We're always coming up with new ideas. I'm always coming up with new ideas for me as well, and I love collabing like crazy. So I'm glad to be able to help you guys out. I know you're coming on my show next week, which will be really fun as well. I love doing this. The Jets community is so strong. There's no bandwagon fans. We've been doing this for a long time. I'm ready. I'm just ready. What about you?
We ready?
we are ready. And it's funny talking about there's no Jets bandwagon fans. Not yet, Italy Jet. Not yet. With this duo of JD and Salah, you just wait. There are going to be people wearing white and green because it's actually going to be cool. It's going to take some time. We're not there yet. But
right.
That is something special that we do have where everybody wearing that green and white, we've earned it. We've earned it over blood, sweat, and tears.
A lot of tears. A lot of tears.
I mostly, yeah.
But we don't get the respect. We even when I was a kid. I mean, I've been a Jets fan since I was 9 years old, and I was watching the game with Browns fans, and we had great conversations. There was no bad blood, and it was really nice because they have a great history, just like the Jets do. And even when we were good with Favre and Sanchez, and even LT, people kept taking pay cuts to come here to play, and we almost went to the Super Bowl like 2 or 3 times, and we still didn't get the respect. But eventually, I hope the respect comes. But we'll see. We'll see.
Well, hey, we got to take it 1 week at a time. So this week, all right, we got a battle. I know everybody has something to say.
Right.
It's the Jets and the Bengals. Fitz,
right.
You got a breakdown. So let me see this breakdown.
All right. So a couple things that I'm looking at this week. First of all, rolling into this game, if you guys were to tell me that the Jets had an opportunity to go 2-1 in a week 3 matchup against the Bengals, which could also be leading them to 0-3, I would say you're freaking nuts. But this is where we're at. And, we beat them last year. My gut is saying, let's go back to last season's, numbers, what worked, what didn't work. So I have a little breakdown here. So last year, Mike White was ungodly. I mean, he did something, when I came back and was looking at the numbers on this game, I almost forgot how freaking good he really was. Dude had an 82% completion percentage. 82%. Threw for 405 yards and then had 3 touchdowns to 2 interceptions. The run game was strong, but we did not quite have 2 very good running backs. We only had 1. Michael Carter averaged 5.1 yards per carry last year. In this matchup, the run game was strong with him. Then you had a little bit of a drop with Ty Johnson. But bringing in Breece Hall after the week that he had last week, having these 2 guys running the ball, I think is going to be an incredible, ground and pound game for us. I think we're going to run the ball very well. When it came to sacks last year, we had 3 sacks. Our boy Zuniga got 1. Quinnen Williams got 1. As well as Sheldon Rankin. So 3 sacks, a little bit low. And that's something that I think, we're probably going to be talking about here, where they have a very vulnerable offensive line. But our sack numbers are not great this season. And, if we're able to get to Burrow, I mean, this guy, he's getting killed every time he comes out on the field. So if we can increase the pressure, utilize the weapons that we have, we're not going to get anything close to a Mike White type performance from Flacco. So I'm expecting a little bit more runs on a weaker defensive line, as well as hopefully smart, true veteran type football out of Joe Flacco. If we could keep the turnovers down, keep the ball on the ground, and get our boy Garrett Wilson open, I think we're going to be in line for some pretty solid success. What do we think?
You go first, my man. You go first. I'll go second.
Oh my God. Well, I mean, all right, here it is. The Jets. I mean, I think this is a win to build, momentum off of, last week.
Right.
I mean, it wasn't pretty. It was actually extremely ugly, but kind of looked like my prom day. But anyway, it's all good. It is all good, right? This is something that you build off of, right? This is showing that the proof is in the pudding. But I do think the Bengals, I mean, this is a team that people thought were going to win the AFC North. They were putting them in the Super Bowl, right? Like half of the Super Bowl predictions either said the Bills or the Bengals. So they are 0-2, all right? They could be 0-3 against a team that embarrassed them last year, literally embarrassed them with a bum, right? He's not even, QB2 this year, but he smacked them 400 yards, hanging in Canton. Holla at your boy. All right. We stole CJ Uzoma from them. Okay. CJ, the man, the locker room leader. Joe Burrow was a big fan. All right. They gave him a good offer. And he was like, I'm going to play with Zach. All right. Mom, stay away. Did his whole thing. Like, we stole them. All right. Now, for the revenge, 0-3, CJ and Carl. There are so many reasons for every single person in this locker room. This isn't like old, something that's ages old, decades old. No, these are things that happened in the last 2 years that every single person in that locker room has felt. They want to whoop us. They want us. They want to smack us silly. So the only thing that we can do is strike first. Joe Burrow's been sacked 13 times in 2 games. We only got 3 sacks, in 2 games. Now, Lamar is Lamar, right? Lamar, he's probably the hardest QB in all of football, maybe Kyler to sack. But we really got to get some pressure. I think that is the key. The defense is the key. We already know the offense will be all right, probably, hopefully. I feel like LaFleur is going to call a better game. I wouldn't expect a lot of runs just based on what we've seen. We should be running. But I'm not expecting a lot of runs. I need Joe Burrow to be on his back. There's one more thing I'm going to say about Burrow before I pass it over to the Italy Jet. I'm going to say this, is that Joe Burrow, right before the Super Bowl, they asked him a question. They said, Joe, how are you feeling about, all the social media, all the memes you're seeing? How are you feeling about all that? And Joe was like, oh, I love it. It's so cool. It's so funny. They were like, yo, what's your favorite nickname? He was like, oh, Joe Shiesty. Like, I think that one's cool. They asked him the exact same question after week 2. They said, Joe, how you feeling about all these memes, everything that's talking about it? He was like, oh, well, I actually deleted my social media. So he's been beaten into submission. right? When you have that laser focus, you either are going to soar high or you're going to be like Ronda Rousey, who refused media attention. She, wanted to be in the tunnel, all that for her last UFC fight, and she got whooped by Amanda Nunes in 54 seconds. So I don't know which Joe we're going to see, but the dude is clearly rattled. Italy Jet, talk to me.
Plus they have a right tackle. Their starting right tackle had doesn't practice. So they might have to go to a backup. So be close an eye on that, because if they have another tackle going down, like, we have got to step up. That front four, 3 tackles in 2 games, that's unacceptable for this front four. This front four could be so much better, and we have in my mind, we have one of the best in the league, because I know Ulbrich switches things up all the time, but what I want to see from Ulbrich is if someone is hot, like Lawson, if Lawson against his own team, against his own previous team, if he's hot, just let him in there. Keep grinding at it. Burrow is going to be very vulnerable in this game to me, because his offensive line is not clicking, in my mind. And also I want to point out, and I'm going to ask this question to you guys too, what do you think, Gardner or Reed? Should they, Chase or Higgins? Which one would you cover? For me, I want Reed to cover Chase, because he has just been killing it these last 2 games. Very underrated cornerback in the league. Gardner, he can shut down Higgins. I just think that's happened. Boyd, I would say Eccles or Carter, pick one, or have Quan Alexander do something. But for me, to get at Burrow, we got to go with the front four, because I think we could definitely do it. He's got all the weapons. Mixon's a very good weapon, but you can shut him down pretty easily. He's going to rely on Chase a lot, and so that in their defense, it's hot and cold. It's hot and cold lately. You can expose that defense pretty good, in my opinion. Now for the Jets, we have to keep feeding Garrett Wilson and Elijah Moore. You're going to keep having Corey Davis open. You're gonna keep him open, and you're also gonna keep Berrios open if you just keep feeding it to Moore and Wilson. But the thing is, we gotta watch out for Fant. Fant, 2nd day in a row, he didn't practice, so that's a little bit of a concern. What do you do if he goes down? Well, you're gonna rely on Hermans? No. And plus, it's one of those things where we have a practice squad. We just signed Pinky, so that's pretty good. But for me, man, I agree with Fitz. Running backs, ball out with Hall, Carter, keep feeding the wide receivers, even CJ. CJ is really good in the red zone. So I really hope that we can get involved with his leadership. And then I think it's going to be a close game, but I think we're going to win this game.
Well, I agree. I think there's definitely a good shot that we pull this one off. And this is actually one thing I left out.
What's up?
From the game from last year. So on the question of DJ Reed or Sauce Gardner, I think all 3 of us in our alignment, DJ Reed, he's playing for something different this year. With his father passing before week 1. I mean, he was at a great level before he got here, and now having that extra motivation. I mean, this guy's sick. If you look at last season, we had Bryce Hall, our number 1 cornerback last year. I mean, this guy's he's really been a non-factor in coverage this year. He's had a couple nice plays. I still like him, but clearly, there's a 1 and 2 man in New York that does not include Bryce Hall, who was our former number 1 last year. How did he do up against Jamar Chase last year? Only gave up 32 yards. Gave up a touchdown, but only gave up 32 yards. T. Higgins is the one that went off last season for almost 100. So when you go and have Sauce Gardner and DJ Reed, honestly, pick one. Who cares? I think DJ Reed should be on Jamar. But, I mean, if you're able to use these 2 to take out their number 1 receivers and then have Bryce on Tyler Boyd or, Eccles, whatever makes sense.
Or Carter, yeah.
Right. This could be a very different game relative to how much we need to do, because that's what we got to be looking at this is how much can we prevent them from scoring so we don't have to be relied on for a lot of scoring, because Joe Flacco, he could be hot and cold. We got the issue with Font going on. We don't know what the heck's going on there. And I think in order to do this, we need to find some consistency. Really weird stat I found from this season. We have not scored a single point in the first or third quarter so far this year. First or third. Every single point we've gotten is in the second quarter or the fourth
third
quarter.
Yeah, fourth quarter. Sorry, third and fourth quarter.
Yeah, no, it's strange, and there's no consistency here. And we need to go out there, and if we go through 3 weeks without a single point on the board in the first quarter, I'm gonna lose it. And that's how you lose games. We need to get out early. We need to strike first, strike hard. Cobra Kai is out on Netflix. Strike first, strike hard.
Yes, I love that show.
Early and get some points on the board in the first.
The show is amazing.
That was not a paid advertisement.
Stop it. Eagle Fang. I'm Eagle Fang till I die.
Get out of here.
But hey, we're talking about consistency. We are probably facing the single most inconsistent team of the NFL last year. And I feel like people get that lost because they made it to the Super Bowl, but that run was kind of crazy. Like, it's not like they were dominating the entire year. They actually snuck into their division leader, and then Ryan Tannehill decided to give them a win and all that. Jamar Chase last year had just as many games under 50 yards as he did over 150 yards. Mm-hmm. So, like, this man is all over the spectrum. And for them to have the games that they're having, they're due for an eruption. So that is my fear. I truly can't believe, or I truly can't say, like, obviously the Jets have a chance. But if gun to my head, somebody's making me choose, I apologize to my gang green. I think the Bengals, I mean, there's just more to lose. There's more to lose.
Yeah.
Like 0-3 is such a hole, and all those other factors. And we haven't seen these guys erupt. Like Jamar Chase had the greatest rookie receiving year in the history of the NFL. And right now,
so far, Garrett Wilson, maybe.
Yeah, I know. He's right.
Probably not.
Probably not.
But I just am afraid that the eruption is about to occur at MetLife Stadium. But we have the tools to prevent it. We have the tools.
Right. I think. Well, it's fun. It's funny you say that. What are erupting and they're due for a win. The Jets have always been that team where everyone's like, oh, they do bad the week before, or in the beginning it says, oh, it's the Jets. That's an easy win. That ain't like that anymore. That's not like that anymore. We have proven against the Browns that we can be that team that I'm like, oh, okay, we shouldn't take light on these guys. I mean, look what the Browns did the last minute and a half in the game. They were just like, oh, okay, you go. Okay, no, you go. They took off plays. Moore was wide open a lot. Like it's not the same old thing. And also when it comes to the Bengals, when you said about Jamar Chase and Higgins, my only concern with the Jets defense, and we haven't seen this since Revis and Cromartie, the secondary's fine. But when it comes to passes in the beginning, in the middle, we've always struggled with. We've always struggled it since Revis and Cromartie. That needs to change because Burrow is good when it comes to short passes, and they just feed Chase down the line or Higgins down the line. We need to shut that down in the beginning. If we can do that, I'm predicting 30-27. Jets are always great in the third or fourth quarter all the time, even last year. It's going to come down to the wire all the time.
Yeah, I think it's going to be a close one. Regardless, I think it's either going to be a high-scoring game. I could see it going to be like, a 30-27 type. Or I could see this being a little bit of a lower scoring game. Having, Font being, on the fence for this Sunday, as well as just kind of some question marks with Flacco. We still don't know. I mean, he had a good game last week. Great. He stunk on ice week one, so.
Yeah. I'm just upset that Tua got number one.
For now, I don't know how long that's going.
Respect.
I won't lie. For what they're doing out there, they deserve it. They are doing some work.
I agree with that.
But I cannot. I truly, in my heart, cannot co-sign a Joe Flacco-led offense game more. Like, all these points that you guys are talking about. If the Jets win this game, it's going to be like 20, and I'm talking about that's 2 zero-line field goals, 20-17. Like, it's going to be one of those. I just don't see the Jets getting over 24. I will gladly eat crow if they do. But I think we got to smack Joe. we got to get that number, that sack number. If we can get it up to 20, that would be incredible. But I'll take 5 sacks. Let's get 5 sacks on Joe Burrow. If we can do that, I think that's a key number to look at for a key to victory.
I'm going 6. I think they can get 6 sacks. This offensive line has been horrible, especially with that guy. He's on the right side, Collins. He might be out for the game. I mean, if Clemens can come alive on that side, or JFM or JJ or even Martin, I really do think this is going to change and have some lookers. Like, I feel that in my heart. So you know how everyone gave up going into halftime with the Browns? I never gave up. I'm always still 0-0-0. And if we can win against the Bengals, we could definitely win against the Steelers too. But I know that's not until next week. But I focus on one thing at a time. But I really feel like it's going to come.
Damn, we need you in the locker room for the speech.
Hey, man, CJ Uzomah, call me.
Oh my gosh! Well, gentlemen, we are hitting our landing time. This has been a tremendous episode of Take Flight Talk. We your boys, James Wudi, Fitz, and down here we got the Italy Jet, Gino. All right, representing the Everything NYJ podcast, fellas. I want to thank you for your time. You guys have any closing remarks?
These guys are doing great. Like, subscribe, share. These guys are awesome. They're great guys. I've been keeping contact with them for a few days, and they're funny, and they got some cooking every week. Follow us, Everything at NYJ on all social media platforms, and Italy Jet on social media platforms, and that's it from me.
Hey, awesome having you on, Italy Jet. Looking forward to joining your pod next week. Everything New York Jets, we're going to be joining. So all of the Take Flight Talk fans, follow them so you can catch us and continue staying up to date with all the great things Italy Jet's doing. Thanks again for coming on.
Appreciate you guys. It's awesome.
Peace.